guys, it's your boy Brendan, aka Drip, back with another video. And I don't even need to say what deck this is, man. We all know what time it is and what deck this is.
Say hello to Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon!
That's right, it's fucking Galaxy Eyes time, baby. Let's go. Post ban list. You know I had to update the deck profile. Just because it's a new list, new format, new Galaxy Eyes deck profile. I had to update it. It's just the way it is. If you've been a member of the channel, member of the DD gang for a while, you know it was about time for me to update the list no matter what anyways. So, it's here. This list is going to be a lot, like, kind of like different from what I normally do with my lists, if you've seen them in the past. So, be ready for that. Another thing I will say before we get into this is there won't be no side deck because this is not a tournament deck list. Normally I'll only provide side decks on tournament deck lists. But also, if you guys don't mind, please hit the like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button. Over like 90% of you guys are returning members and you're not subscribed. So hit that subscribe button. You're coming back anyways. You might as well hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. So you know when I'm uploading anyways. You're returning. You might as well. Also, feel free to please check out the description below for Discord, the merch website, and our newly made Patreon. Patreon, I try to lay it out pretty fair and pretty nice to give you guys some good rewards and everything else too. So one thing being exclusive voting. So basically what that is kind of like you get seniority voting when it comes to like upcoming lists and like for certain things, like if you want to see something and like a certain deck profile or updated deck profile or something like that, that's where the seniority comes from, is being on there. Y'all will get like first dibs, first priority. And there's a couple of other stuff on there too that's really nice. So helps me help support me and helps me be able to bring you guys this content and the best content I can potentially give you guys. So go check that out if you don't mind. Also, my mind went blank. Sorry. Let's go ahead and just get into this. So let's go ahead and get the extra deck out of the way. Started out. For the most part, the starting point is going to be kind of standard. 3 Photon Dragon. Another thing too, I will say before we get too far into this, because like I said, this will be kind of different from what you're used to hearing me talk about and hearing me say, but I have my reasoning on that, which this is going to be a longer video. I usually always have to say that because sometimes new members forget that I like to talk in my videos because I like to explain everything. If you're not the type of person that likes to listen to my explanations, then you're probably in the wrong place. Go ahead and click off while you are, because I'm not the type of guy to just spam out the list so you have the list and go on by your way. I want to help you and any way I can, help you understand why the decision making I made, I thought going into making this list, so you know in advance, because all it does is set you up for success. Because if you know the ratios but you don't know why the ratios are the way they are, then you're going to have to learn yourself, which if you want to do that, by all means go ahead. But I'm trying to save you the time, so if you already know why the reasoning is behind it, you'll know when, why, and how to respond in those certain situations, if that makes sense. But with that being said, if you want to understand it deeper, my reasonings, go check out my video on my thought process and what goes behind in my mind when I make this deck in particular. Because Galaxy Eyes is one of my babies. I know this deck better than I do most of any other decks. This deck is literally my baby. I don't know how to explain it. I never feel more at home than when I am playing this deck, except for Shaddolls. Shaddolls are the only other ones that gives me the feeling that I get when I play this deck. I just love this deck, and I feel like my list can go toe-to-toe with almost anybody's. So, and like, I feel like I can just sit down and work this deck to be able to play in any format, if that makes sense, to the best of its ability that it can get, because it still has its limitations, don't get me wrong. But I have a video. I'll either post it up here in the corner somewhere, or if it's not there, check the description. I'll most likely post it there. So then you'll have more like recollection of why I chose what I chose and all that. But I'll speed up a little bit. 2 Afterglow, doing all the galaxies. 3 Soldier. Thankfully, he got reprinted for some of y'all who couldn't afford him. Soldier, he's the best starter in the deck. 2 Knight is standard. No less, no more. If you know me, you already know the combo. And this is where it veers off track compared to normal. And that is, I'm running 2 Wizard this format, only because I'll go ahead and do a little bit of spoilers. I'm not running as many Go Second cards in this version than I have in previous versions. Normally, I run more hand traps instead of utility / Go Second cards. And that is like, whether they're being like Effect Veilers or Lancias or stuff like that. So I'm running more engine in this one than I am in other ones, which will obviously change varied upon format to format. So like, just because you see him at 2 in my list now doesn't mean he's always going to stay at 2. Also, spoiler, if you've seen my video, what goes in my thought process when I make my profiles, you know Wizards ratios depend on Expeditions ratios as well. So if I have 2 Wizard, then I'm running 2 Expedition. And normally, you know, I am the one who hates that card at more than 1. That card at more than 1 is usually shit. Definitely for me, because yes, I understand it's a great extender and all like that, but like, I hate drawing into it after I've already resolved it. If I want it again, I'll recycle it back in the deck and just search it again. So like, I never want to just like, if I want to search it, I might as well just shuffle back from a grave, because I want to draw cards that's actually going to get me somewhere instead of being situational. It's a situational card because it makes you to where you have to control level 5 or higher Galaxy monster in order to use it. So it's not as generic as cards I like. So like, when I make my list, I want to make them as generic as like possible. So, and which means Brave, because these 2 ratios depend on each other. We're running a small, like a lot smaller photon engine than normal, so that's why I swapped the ratios around. Because normally I run 2 and 1, and then 1 Expedition to match this. But we're running a smaller photon engine, so that's why we run 1 Brave. And the last one is Bay herself. I wish she had a freaking holo form. If she had Secret, that'd be really badass. But that's actually it for that Galaxy engine. Nothing really needs to be said. It's very standard and cookie cutter, at least for my lists. I never really need any of the other ones. I know some of y'all like ask me every once in a while, like for Tyranno and the little level 1 that special summons Photon Dragon from hand. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I have too much in my mind right now. Those are so outdated, it's unreal. If you want to play Galaxy Eyes as its fullest potential, I'm trying to give you the best way possible. So you gotta make everything as generic as possible. And then the best Rhoda in the deck besides Soldier, 3 Photon Orbital, still 2 Vanisher. Vanisher at 3 is just kind of bricky, because we run a card now. If you haven't seen in my previous list, it's literally the best indirect Galaxy Eyes Photon like support we've had in ever. So like, all these every single monster in my deck is searchable now. So we don't need more than 2, because once you have 1 online and once you resolve it once, you don't really need it again except for a body at that point. And if you need it that bad, you can just recycle it or just go search the second one. So you never really want to clog on this. Definitely considering we're running a smaller photon engine, the third one has never came up. Also, if you couldn't tell already, I also cut Advancer and cut Thrasher. Yes, I understand what Thrasher brings to the table, but if I need a body, I'd rather put Wizard on board. Yes, I know you could put Thrasher and Wizard at the same time. You go +1 kind of ish in board presence, but like Thrasher outside of giving you a body doesn't really get you anywhere. And now that DPE is not really that relevant, the body doesn't really matter, because there's not really much that actually denies you board presence in this current format. Because except for like Despia, but like we should be able to have enough gas to kind of compete with that deck to an extent. It's very situational when we'd have have to have a certain specific hand, but that is the best deck, and it's the best deck for a reason. So, but I try to build this to where it can compete with Despia. So, yeah, it's not necessary. And then the last extender in the deck is Astral Karibo. Astral Karibo is normally we run it at 2. If you didn't watch my previous video, I am the one who found this sauce and how it's amazing in this deck. But you don't need a second one, because if you have it, you have it. If not, you don't. So like, if that, what I mean by that is like, at the end of the day, if you have it, you have it. If not, you can just use this as the Rhoda spell target if you need to be. But yes, we run Small World, and it's the this basically becomes a Small World target, whether you can search it off of Small World, or this actually becomes the best middleman for Small World. Because if you know how Small World works, every time you reveal one from hand and reveal one from deck, the one you revealed from deck can only share one similarity with attribute, level, type, attack, or defense. It can only share one of what you reveal in hand. So basically, let's say I reveal I drew 2 Vanisher. I reveal Vanisher from hand. If this is in deck, you could just deck thin by getting rid of this, because if you get rid of this out of deck, you don't have to worry about drawing it. And it's not really that good of a card to draw as like a top deck option, because if you're in a top deck state, you are basically being denied board presence anyways, and this doesn't help you with board presence because it's not a name. But this is really good to open up as an extender, if that makes sense. So let's say you do Vanisher, then you do Astral from deck. They only share one thing, and that's literally their attribute. They're light. They don't have the same level. They don't have the same type. They don't have the same attack, and they don't have the same defense. So then you can go search literally anything in your entire deck, because what you grab from your deck does not matter what you revealed from hand. It only matters what you can grab. It only matters by what you reveal from deck. So basically, what you grab from deck does not need to share a similarity from anything. It does not have to do with anything what you do from the hand. It only has to do with what you do from the deck. So this being generic as hell and doesn't share nothing with anything in the deck at all. Hand traps, no nothing. It doesn't share nothing except for the attribute. So this is what makes it a really generic, like, middleman for anything that you want to be able to search. Literally the last monsters in the deck, 3 Ash. That's it. I know normally you hear me preaching about lights, keeping everything tight and snug, but that's why we're running more names in this version, so we can run Ash. Because Ash is just too impactful in this format against a lot of decks, specifically branded. You have to play that. Like Valor and stuff like that is not really going to get you anywhere anymore. Or Lancia, because Lancia, they don't care, but Branded don't care about Lancia, which we do run Lancia on the side for Sword Soul and stuff like that. But Valor is not going to get you nowhere because of Branded lost. So you need to be able to stop that Branded Fusion. And outside of Branded Fusion, other just generic decks this says no to. So in order to open up space for you to run fires and stuff that basically is a dead card for your deck, you have to make sacrifices elsewhere, hence why we made sacrifices to the other go second hand traps like Valor and stuff like that we ran in the past, because we needed to run more names in order to keep and maximize our consistency in order to run Ash, which kind of sucks, but it works out. And then onto the spells. We got 3 Sanctuary. Sanctuary is literally 1 card starter. I'm on 3 Droplets. If you know me, I do not make budget deck profiles unless you guys specifically ask for them. But I will try to give budget options in this deck profile when I go along. Forbidden Droplet, I will say, is the only card that's in this deck that is quote unquote not mandatory. What I mean by this is the best card I can say for you to swap it out with would be Impermanence. I wouldn't put anything else in. You either run Droplets or you run Impermanence. That's just literally it. There's no other better cards for it. But the reason why I opt to run this instead of Impermanence is because this gets your Photon Dragon Engraved, which sets us up a step ahead of time. If you know me, I say this every time in every deck profile. This card sets you up for success when it comes to getting your Photon Dragon Engraved and just dodging imperms and stuff like that, because you can send your stuff for cost and turn their stuff off. So, like, there are several situations online where I normal summon a Cleric in, like, mid-game, and targeted my 5 monsters that are 5 cards that I wanted to shuffle back and draw 2. They chained impermanence. I chained this to send the cleric away from the field, so the target would no longer be on the field, so the impermanence wouldn't resolve, to negate one of their monster effects. And this halves their attack too. So since this halves their attack, that just makes our job with number 62 so much easier. Because if you try to substitute this with Dark Ruler, right now Dark Ruler's not that good, but once Splight comes out, Dark Ruler will be good. But if you try to replace this with Dark Ruler as a budgetary option, that won't be good, because then you can't do no battle damage, and this deck likes to OTK, so if it can. So that basically gets rid of that. So this actually helps you fuel your OTK with 62. It helps you dodge imperms. It also gets your Photon Dragon in graveyard for your Knight. When you normal summon Knight to summon back your Photon Dragon, it facilitates a lot and does a lot in this deck to where like other cards cannot do. Chalice, I wouldn't worry about Chalice. Don't run Chalice. Run impermanence if you can't afford this. Now the rest of the deck, there's no budgetary options. Like, you have to have them. You just have to be able to play this deck at its fullest potential. Ash Blossom, you have to have it. And then the rest of the cards I'm about to show you have to have too. Galaxy Expedition. Like I said before, normally I run this at 1, but I run it at 2 now because I run 2 Wizard this format because you have to maximize on names, like I said before. 2 trade-in because we like consistency. You don't need 3. 3 is just too many. I couldn't tell you how many times when I ran 3 I used trade-in and drew trade-in. It's just annoying. And then one of the other cards that's not budget, that is literally the best card in this entire deck, is Small World. Small World can search every single monster in our deck, even Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom, you just basically, what helps you with that is, like, if you have a random light in hand, you just go and banish anything, and you can banish the, you can banish, mainly Brave is the way you have to get to it. So if you haven't used a Brave and you have a Brave in deck still, you can banish Brave and search Ash Blossom, because they share nothing but the same attack. Because Brave's not a zombie, he has 0 defense, not 1800, he's a level 8, not a level 3, and he's a light, not a fire. So literally the only thing they share is their attack, so you can search Brave. I mean, you search Ash Blossom off of Brave, and then this can search literally anything in your entire deck. So this, and what's really nice about this too is it trades 1 for 1. A lot of people say you go neg 1 off of this, but you really don't. It just trades 1 for 1. And what's really nice too is you don't have to banish from hand unless it resolves. So you don't banish for cost and then just have to get ashed. So like you could just activate it. If they don't ash it, then you banish. You don't have to banish for cost, which is really nice too. So I would run. I have a 3rd one. I was running 3, but for this format, I'm running 2. And then card I opted to run here at the last second is Triple Tactics Talent, because it's basically another trade-in on top of that. If we have full combos, since we're running a lot more names, if we're indirectly kind of more consistent, if that makes sense. So they can always, since a lot of people also doesn't know what this deck does, they can hit hand trap you at the wrong time and you still have combo, and then you could just use talents, shuffle a card from their hand back to the deck, or shuffle it before you even finish your combo so you know what you're playing against, so you know what you need to make. So you can either do that, and what else is really nice too that I was thinking about, the other effect is, what's the 2 best decks right now? Despia and Sword Soul, okay? What is kind of relevant about those 2 decks, the 2 similarities that those 2 decks and our deck have in common? I'll give you a second. Don't know? All right, I'll tell you. The similarities all 3 of our decks have is we all use level 8s. We like having full combo, using talents to steal our opponent's 8s and then overlay them into our generic rank 8s. Yeah. Nice Mirror Jade, bro. Nice Shishao, dog. They're mine now. Thanks for the materials. So literally, if we can use this to basically help us tutor out a rank 8, because all we have to do is get another level 8 on board, and we just win with talents. So talents puts in work, and it is very mandatory this format. Very mandatory in this deck, because it just has so much like flexible stuff that it can do. It just helps out too much. And then Zero, I love Zero to death. God, I love this card. There's nothing more satisfying and like overall just like feeling good at Yu-Gi-Oh! When you use Zero to bring back a Photon Lord and just overlay Prime. I mean not Prime, but like Cypher Blade or Full Armor or whatever on top of it and just popping. It just feels really good. And then my favorite card in the deck, Galaxy Trans, because it's just a 1-card Prime. It goes hard. It goes barbecue chicken in the paint. It's just how it is. And then the last card in the deck is Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is Called by the Grave. It's very good, very, very good this format, with not just being a defensive card, but hitting Tinnies out of the graveyard, hitting Tragedy out of the graveyard. Of course, make sure you wait for them to use Brandon Red, then chain Called by out of the grave, not the other way around, because they can chain the red to your Called by. So make sure you be careful and aware of your surroundings when it comes to that. Clean 40, I like making a clean 40 for you guys. I think Galaxy House is best played at 40 in my personal opinion. Onto the extra. The extra deck is literally standard for me in my lists. It's the best extra deck that I think that you can make right now until we get Dark Matter back. Hashtag free number 95. If you're watching this, Galaxy, then you know what I'm talking about. That's your meme, bro. Your meme. 2 Soul Flare, never need 3. Ashima, the card, like some people, I don't even understand why they don't run. This card is literally free in this deck. It's so good. It's really nice against back row decks too, because even if you have full combo, a lot of back row decks, some of them like are not playing that many hand traps this format, which is weird considering their back row and they need to try to simplify the game state, but it's whatever. If you want to give me a free win, that's fine. They just let it go off, so you go full combo and use Turbo this out. On top of that, this is how you play around Nib too. If you don't have the way to make like full armor or whatever number 90 before you like can get to before 5th summon, you can just make this, and then this also helps you with your back row matchups too, as I was saying, because you can use full armor, like God bless number 90 to add or negate, and then if you have him under the arrow, you could just pop a back row too, which is really spicy. That's it for the links. On to the XZs. Photon Lord, not freaking full armor. Leave me alone, I'm sorry. Number 90, full armor just really likes me right now, because that actually, full armor, fun fact, if you don't already know, because I say it every time, but if you're new to the channel, full armor is my favorite extra deck Galaxy House monster. Let me know what yours is down below. Lord, 2 Lords mandatory. I know this card is actually kind of cracked and expensive right now. I'm sorry, but if you're watching this, you're probably already a Galaxy House player and probably already got yours anyways. So, the Cypher package, Cypher X, and Cypher Blade. These cards are just ridiculous. I love people sleeping on this card. I don't give a crap about I can only attack with Cypher monster or whatever. I do not care about that. I just want to steal their monster and then overlay freaking Cypher X on top of it, because Cypher X is not as generic unlike the rest of them. Cypher X only has to be a Galaxy House monster. The rest of them have to be XZs, which sucks because it only comes up in an XZ match, and there's not very many XZ decks since freaking Zeus Turbo bullcrap got nerfed into the dirt. But speaking of the man himself, now I can actually say his name, Full Armor. Full Armor, just one, that's all you need. One Mr. OTK himself. Got to play Ultimate Rare First Ed. You got to. It's the only way to flex in style. One Blast, because Blast comes up. You do not need the other one. That special summons Photon Dragon. That is so irrelevant and so power crept, it's ridiculous. Do not run that card. And then the generics, because you need to get to it sometimes. Infinity and Nova. It's basically standard. Hope Harbinger. Hope Harbinger, because it does come up sometimes where you have enough gas to get to 2 level 8s. And if I'm making another rank 8, sorry, not level 8. If I make another rank 8, it's definitely going to be Hope Harbinger. And it is still a Galaxy monster, which means you could still equip Orbital to it. A lot of people don't know that. I don't know why. But it is a Galaxy monster, so you can still equip Orbital to it and get the 500 buff, and it can be destroyed by battle. which that comes up to against like spell decks. Then last card in the deck is Mr. Let's Wipe Boards. Another thing too, if you're new to the channel and new to me, I created a really disgusting loop like a year or two ago. Whenever Zeus first came out, I created it. I haven't seen no one else use it beforehand, so that's why I say I created the little loop. I like to take pride in that. What that is the indirect kind of infinite loop between Zeus and Cleric. That's why we run Cleric. I made a combo video on it. I'm pretty sure it's in the video that describes how I make my deck profiles, because people asked for the Zeus combo. So in there, as long as Zeus has materials, you can just continuously keep using Zeus and remaking your board with Cleric. So you just go Zeus and then Cleric, Cleric in hand, use Zeus, normal summon Cleric, remake your whole board, and then use Soul Flare to add Cleric back, and then your Zeus is live again and your Cleric's live for the next turn. You just basically keep doing that till you burn your opponent out of resources and you just win the game, because with all of our XZs, a lot of our XZs can just keep stacking on top of each other, so they just keep adding thick materials. So then you just make a Zeus on top, and then you just keep floating between Zeus and Cleric, and then you just win. So if you want to see that combo, go check out the video. You can probably fast forward to it if you don't want to watch how I deck build these my Galaxy decks. So you can just watch that profile if you want. I mean, watch the combo. Go ahead and ignore the profile. The profile on there is outdated, but this is the profile I would go off of if I were you. But you can watch the combo on there if you feel like you want to learn that. Little spice. But that's it for the extra deck. Clean 15. I love this deck, guys. I really do. I've been a Galaxy fan for a while, but I've been playing the deck for going on 4 years now, roundabout, I think. So 3 to 4 years. I love this deck. It's one of the decks like Blue Eyes I just connected to really hard, and just, I don't know, just fell in love with. And it's one of those like decks that's just really easy for me to connect with and just do my best at like making the deck profiles. Like every single like deck profile I make out of this, I just keep surprising myself. I've taken it to events and done really well in big, serious, like top heavy meta tournaments and stuff. Like the last one I went to was when Tri Brigade was at its like fullest power, like full power. I took it to a tournament and finished 6th place, and of like, I think there was like 30 people, I think. But yeah, I love this deck. I don't know why, I just get so comfortable with it when I play it. I feel like I have a lot more fun when I play this deck than I do a lot of other decks, which sometimes is really nice because it's like gives me a breath of fresh air when I run this deck, because like I go from like sweating my ass off playing like a lot of other decks and stuff, and I can just come back to this one and just But anyways, with that being said, guys, I hope you all enjoyed the video, learned something from it, took something away from it. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload. There's like 93% of you that's returning members and who are not subscribed. So go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Check out all the ways to support me in the description below, along with the deck building video that's going to be probably down there as well. If you need help with any other type of stuff that I cannot personally help you with over Discord or the comment section, or even if you wanted to get even closer and pick my brain even more with the Patreon, you can go that way too. But with that being said, guys, I hope you all have a wonderful night, morning, evening, whenever you're watching this video. Hope you all are staying safe out there in the ends parts of COVID. It's your boy Brendan, a.k.a. Drip, signing out. Peace, my guy.